I'm Meiser. If you're looking for true, creepy, dark stories about the world around us, then you've come to the right place. Now, if you think you're man or woman enough, I need you to shoot that like button point blank. Don't worry about the mess. It's somebody else's problem now. And make sure you subscribe to the channel, or else I'm turning you in for the reward. With that, we're going right into tonight's story. As teenagers growing up, our time was consumed by riding and maintaining our four-wheelers and dirt bikes. We always liked to find new places to ride, creek and riverbeds, old logging trails, parks. But our favorite was on our friend's property where they had acres and acres of wooded land that we just rode and explored and cut new trails through it all the time. They also lived way out in the middle of nowhere, and the only way to their property involved taking dirt roads most of the way out there. Eventually, we cleared out major parts of this land, which was dedicated to just riding. Now, we had a big group of us that always got together every weekend and rode. Me and my three brothers, along with my dad, my friend Matt, his dad, Mom, and Grandpa. Now, most of our rides had the same headlight layout. My friend Matt and his family all had the same make and models, so their lights were just the one lamp underneath the handlebars. Now, my three brothers had the same layout, and my dad had two lamps, one above each front fender like a car. Mine was the newest and had two lamps right between the front two fenders, stacked on top of each other. It was kind of weird, but they were also pretty bright. Now, when we all got together, our favorite thing to do was to play a game called the Hounds and the Hare. The game was a lot like tag, except if you were it, you were the one running and hiding from everyone else. And when you were found, they had to tag you to become the hare. We would all meet down by the house and decide who was the hare. The person selected had a few minutes to take off into the woods by themselves and find a hiding spot. Now, we mostly played this at night for some reason. It wasn't a rule, but it was more fun. This night, I was told to run and hide first, so I did. Earlier that day, I scoped out a pretty decent hiding spot, so I was ready to try it out. I took off and hid in the spot, off one of the main trails that connected everything together. This trail was called the highway. It connected most of the trails together, and it was a long, straight, narrow stretch. So after about 10 to 15 minutes, I decided to show myself and see if someone could tag me. Now everyone's trying to cut me off and reach me, but I did a pretty good job staying just out of reach until I lost them totally. I rode off one of the trails and came up to the back of the house where I found them all talking on the porch. I hopped off and walked up to see what was going on, hoping someone didn't get hurt. And my buddy Matt came running over and started telling me about how he was chasing me down the main trail to a point where I dipped down into the ravines and spun around and took off past him in the opposite direction, losing him. Now at the bottom of the ravine is a couple of trails that branch back up into the other parts of the woods, so he decided he was going to cut me off and take one of those. Now at the bottom of this little ravine also, if you follow it instead of going up the side, it'll take you out to the gravel road that we used to get to the property. Now we had a bunch of different spots that spat you out right at the road. Well, he followed all the way down and out, and he seen a light taking off down the road. Now if you see my quad at night with the two headlights stacked on top of each other, that's all you see, a big ball of light. So he took off after it and followed it for a few minutes before hitting one of the curves in the road that led to an actual paved road. There the light slowed down, and he caught up to it, riding right up next to it. He then realized that it wasn't me, and that it was an actual floating ball of light, about the size of one of our four-wheelers. Spun around right there and took off back to the house. After hearing this story, we all decided it was a good idea just to eat and hang out for the rest of the night after that. And yes, we believed him. No questions asked. We didn't make fun of him. We didn't talk about it anymore. We actually came back that next weekend to ride some more. Now we did a lot of crazy stuff, but hearing him explain this kind of made us all uncomfortable for the rest of the night. Now, if you guys like this, remember, subscribe, and hit that like button. Show who's boss. Thanks for listening.